सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. I welcome you all with my love and respects. Today's sutra Gaunaschet Natma Sabdat. Translation of Gambhirananda says, if it be argued that the seeing is in a secondary sense, we say not so, owing to the use of the word self. Translation of Swami Veereshwarananda says, if it be said that thinking is used in a secondary sense, we say not so, because of the word self, by which the first cause is referred to in scriptures. This is one of the deepest philosophical problem. But which is responsible for our very way of thinking. There can be argument. See, this is actually a continuation of yesterday's sutra. Yesterday, the Brahma Sutras essence is source of you, source of the universe is independent intelligence, not a dead matter or a dead law. You need to understand. The source of existence is not dead matter. It is you. The source of universe, which is you, is life. It is independent intelligence, living mechanism. This truth is established through a logic because all experiences are happening in you, which is a living self. The source is living self. Please understand. Only when you know the source is living intelligence, you will be honest. In every step you take in your life, you will be honest. One of the biggest problem I find in the so-called spiritual seekers is when they lose trust over the law of the land and law of the society, they lose integrity. Understand, losing integrity is not spirituality. Just because you lost respect, usually the seekers tend to lose respect for the law of the land or law of the society. Because when you are a seeker, you evolve to a certain level, your hypocrisy goes away. When your hypocrisy goes away, the hypocritical laws of the society and the law of the land loses its power over you. You just realize social laws are nothing but social hypocrisy. Usually the law of land is exploited by the people who are in power. When somebody realizes this truth, they tend to lose respect for the social laws and social rules and country laws, law of the land. But unfortunately, when you lose respect for law of land, you become hypocritical. The integrity is lost. The honesty is lost. Understand? For an ultimate enlightened being and for a terrorist, for both the social law and country law does not bind, but an enlightened being retains his integrity. A terrorist does not have integrity. I can say many seekers lose their integrity, almost become terrorists. Where things went wrong? Why he became a terrorist instead of becoming an enlightened being? Why the tapas which he practiced did not invoke compassion in him? How did he get the feeling to kill 3,000 people? It's almost a lost philosophical miss. When you lose respect for the social law and country law, you are supposed to have the deep respect and the true experience and at least an unshakable cognitive factual clarity that existence is intelligence, everything goes as per the justice of the intelligence. If you have that one clarity, you will not become terrorists. You will not become terrorists. If you have the one clarity, understand, an ordinary man is a man who is bound by the social law and law of the land. An enlightened being is a person who is not bound by these two laws, but he has a clarity of the cosmic law. It is intelligence which is doing everything, so he rests in peace. He will be deeply compassionate and non-violent. He will have the complete restful awareness and peace. He is an enlightened being. Then there is another one classification. Person who does not have respect for social law and law of the land, but do not have the cognitive factual clarification. The whole is independent, intelligent. He thinks the whole is just dead matter, so anybody can do injustice to himself or his group. Then naturally what he thinks? Come on, let me take a weapon in my hand and take revenge by myself. That is where the deviation happens. That is a road where an enlightened master takes a path, different path, and a terrorist takes a different path. Otherwise, till that point, both travel together. Whether you are going to become an enlightened being or a terrorist is going to be defined just on this one sutra. The seekers who do not have integrity, I am afraid of them. Because these idiots will not bother to do anything. Sometimes you will see the people who come here and pose as seekers. I'll try to get rid of them as quickly as possible, because these fellows have lost respect for the law of the land and law of the society. But they do not have the integrity. The cosmos is intelligence. The existence is from intelligence. It's a very dangerous thing. That is why again and again and again masters insist on receiving the truths completely. If you just miss this one point, think the cosmos is matter, you will become a violent terrorist. That is what I am seeing is happening by the people who have power. Now I am seeing the whole infrastructure, established people who have so much power, how they misuse and abuse, how each one who is vested with the power is abusing and misusing, because they think the cosmos is not intelligence. Cosmos is intelligence. Rowdies, violent terrorists, all have a complete underground belief. The basis of life is a dead matter. Anybody who can bully is successful man. No. That's a completely wrong basis. There is an argument by the materialists and different groups saying, no, just because we are seeing, we are thinking, we cannot say our source is consciousness. It may be secondary sense. Brahma Sutra breaks that argument, saying no. If it is secondary, then the first person should not be able to perceive it. The perception itself is done in consciousness. I wanted all of you to understand, the seeing, thinking and all cannot be done by the arithmetic logic or mathematical logic. Still no robot is able to take cognizance of even simple happenings. 2 days before I was telling, a rope can be used only for pulling, not for pushing. Bar can be used only for pushing, not for pulling. Just this much of cognizance. There is no arithmetic, logical, mathematical sutra or formula or a solution to take cognizance of this information, this simple conclusion. To come to this conclusion, still we do not have a logical, mathematical, arithmetic formula which you can feed to a robot, and that robot comes to a cognizance. Yes, this is a rope. It can be used only for pulling, not for pushing. This is a bar. This can be used only for pushing, not for pulling. No. It means seeing or thinking cannot be secondary sense, where the screen on which the seeing and thinking is happening is where the cognizance is taken, is the conscious shaft. It is on conscious shaft this cognizance is taken. Seeing and thinking happens on cognition, on the conscious shaft. Cognition cannot be taken by the secondary sense, because all secondary sense is reproducible. I can use thousands of logic to say just the actions cannot show the source is matter or intelligence. Because the source where the cognizance is taken about the action, seeing or thinking is conscious shaft, is independent intelligence. Without independent intelligence, without the presence of independent intelligence, without the presence of Pratyagatma Chaitanya, the individual self-reflection, cognition cannot be taken. So the source is life. Through all the logics which hides your knowledge, through all the arguments which hides your knowledge and highlights your ignorance, you need to analyze and imbibe this truth. Please understand. When you listen Shravana, the ultimate truth, when the Shravana of the ultimate truth is done by you, few things happen. A sincere seeker analyzes the truth because it is truth and receives it. A profit-oriented seeker, he thinks, if I believe these truths, I may get spiritual experience or enlightenment. So let me believe this truth. The moment you have an idea, I will get something if I accept this truth, and start accepting, you missed it. Then there is another one set of people, maybe because this man says it must be true, it goes above my head, it's okay, I think it is true. Again, you missed it. You may have it by the grace of the Master in course of time when he repeats the same truth at some time else, later on. Because you have trust on the man, you have little possibility, but you missed now. There is another one set of people, No, no. What he says is true, but I need to practice and then it should become experience, then I will become enlightened. Better you disappear into the wherever you can. Truth has to be analyzed and imbibed just for the sake of truth. When you analyze and imbibe just for the sake of truth, only then enlightening happens in you. I am changing my brand. It is no more enlightenment. Enlightening. The N effect happens on you if you sit and listen to the truth and analyze, imbibe just for the sake of truth. Now I am saying, source is intelligence. Means the source of the universe, source of your individual self, source of God, source of the human society, source of the nature, everything is intelligence. It is not dead matter or dead laws. That is why people go on asking me every time, why so much injustice? Especially after the rumors and the persecution on me, now they start justifying, even on you, why so much injustice? I am telling you the honest truth, there is no such thing as injustice. I know for sure the source is intelligence. It will not allow any injustice. Now when it is happening superficially, when you look in a very hurried way, you want to come to the conclusion, it will look like injustice. But relax and wait in few days. Wait and see how the cosmos unfolds, unrolls. You will see how the persecutors are going to suffer and disappear on their own, without me showing any violence or anger. I will be in restful awareness. How they suffer and how they are going to disintegrate and disappear. That will show you the cosmos is intelligence. The source is intelligence. All you need is little bit of restful awareness during the time when you are made to believe injustice is being done to you. For that restful awareness, you need to have a clear cognizance of factual reality that source is intelligence. If you think source is law, dead law, or matter, you will become terrorist. Now, actually, I can see very clearly the mental setup of a politician, a mental setup of a terrorist, a mental setup of a policeman who has a power and who is abusing, a mental setup of an enlightened being, a mental setup of a common citizen, I can see the whole thing. That is why I am telling you, the truth is, source is intelligence. There is no injustice in the planet Earth, in the cosmos, anywhere. Now, it should be analyzed for the sake of truth, not for the sake of any other reason. You should have a solid debate which does not raise the heat of your body. Each satsang center, I request you guys to form 2 groups. The groups should be called as Shankara and Mandana Mishra. You should have honest debate for the sake of truth. I think you should not even have the name Shankara and Mandana Mishra, because the moment some group assumes the name Mandana Mishra, you will lose the confidence. No. Shankara and Vyasa. All our temples and satsang centers from today should have 2 groups who are attending Brahma Sutras. Should have 2 groups, Shankara and Vyasa. Should analyze all the truth I am revealing for the sake of truth, not even to justify what I am revealing. No. Analyze with all the logical doubts you have, because the logical doubts you have are responsible for not awakening the non-mechanical parts of your brain. So no sadhana for the Brahma Sutra participants. But Vada Pradivada should be done. Shankara and Vyasa, 2 teams should be created. It does not necessary the 2 teams should have equal number. But both teams should be honest about the truth. It is not necessary you need to come to the same conclusion which I am giving to you. At the end of the debate, the level you are able to reach, stop with it, over. But the condition should be your body heat should not increase. If your body heat is increasing, you are not basing your debate on truth, it is being based on violence now. You are becoming politician, a terrorist. You are not becoming enlightened. So these few things will really help you. Maybe we can get some high quality monitors which shows even a slight increase in the body temperature. It should be tied on your body, in your hand, and the debate should start. I wanted at least all our major temples to do this practice. Then you will experience authentic truths in a very clear way, as a cognizance of factual reality. When the cognizance of factual reality does not happen in you, the non-mechanical parts of the brain remains closed even if you do any kind of practice. Because the place where you begin is wrong. Understand? If you start traveling towards Bangalore but standing in opposite direction, you will never reach Bangalore. Same way, if you start going towards Brahman, thinking you are matter, all your effort will be waste. You will never reach Brahman. Because the basic mistake has happened. In the basic cognizance of factual reality, truth is missed. Honesty cannot be acquired by practice, it can be acquired only by understanding. Any number of years you play with any toys, any techniques, any kriya, unless the understanding is happening, enlightening is impossible. The end effect is impossible. So the truth should be analyzed, debated, imbibed, incorporated just for the sake of truth. Create two groups, Shankara and Vyasa. The basic guidelines is, first guideline, body temperature should not increase during the debate. Anger, violence, logically trying to rape others should not happen during the debate. Third, you will talk only the things which you are able to understand logically. You will convince others about the facts only which you are convinced as a strategy for your day-to-day life. For example, if you convince others, source is intelligence, you should be convinced about it, and you should not have a stored, retained violence in the corner of your space about some relationship you are having in your life. If you have the cornered, stored violence in your inner space about some relationship, you are not believing source is intelligence. You know source is brutal power. The rule is survival of the fittest, might is right. You are functioning only on that law. Then don't convince others. Then you stand for that law. Stand for the law with which the cognition is taken. Cognizance into the factual reality is taken in you. Because you do not need to reach the conclusion which I am giving, but you need to dig the truth. See, if you are honest, integrated about the truth which you can grasp, the cognizant factual reality, the factual reality which you are able to take cognizance, if you are honest about it, that very honesty and integrity will help you to click with the next sutra I may be teaching. But if you patch up or overlook, compromise, on the cognizant, the factual reality which takes cognizance in you, and say, no, no, no. Because Swamiji says, source is intelligence, I also say source is intelligence. No. That is good for faith, not for enlightenment. Brahma Sutras has nothing to do with faith. I am not asking you to have faith. I am asking you to dig. Same way, I am not asking you to have violent disbelief. No. I am asking you consciously debate. So when you debate consciously, every logic which does not allow the non-mechanical parts of your brain to function gets broken. The non-mechanical parts of the brain starts working, functioning. Here, Badarayana, Mahapurusha, Bhagavan Vedavyasa starts the debate in this sutra, the today's sutra, the 6th sutra, starts a powerful debate. He throws an argument. The source is intelligence. Just because seeing and thinking is a secondary action, don't think the source is matter. These secondary actions can happen only on the predominant, primordial, conscious, independent intelligence presence. The presence of the matter cannot be pradhana, origin, or the alchemical agent for seeing and thinking and cognizance to happen. Cognition does not happen in the presence of matter. Then next point starts. All right, we agree. Cognition happens. Cognizance is taken in the presence of consciousness. But how do we know consciousness is independent intelligence? And it is all about compassion. It is all about equal justice. It is not unjust. How can we know that? Have these questions. Nothing wrong. Have this debate. Nothing wrong. Shankara, Badarayana comes next. In next sutras, he comes up with these arguments. Actually, I am taking out the essence of Badarayana Sutra, Shankara's Bhashya, Ramanuja's Bhashya, Sureshwaracharya's Vartika, Atmananda Saraswati's Tika, and Bhamati's Bhashya. Almost some 50 different commentaries of Brahma Sutra. I am calling out the essence. Of course, finally, burning the whole thing with my inner experience and giving you the Vibhuti Prasadam of that. So now the further argument starts. All right. We can understand because the cognition cannot be taken. The cognizance cannot be taken, the cognition cannot happen without the conscious presence. The pradhana cannot be matter. The source cannot be matter. We accept. But how do we know the source is intelligence? Source is compassionate. Source is just. Does not do unjust. How can we know those truths? You can start that argument. The argument, analysis, and the understanding for these doubts Badarayana continues in the next sutras. But first let us analyze, have the complete debate on this sutra. Very beautifully, Ramana Maharshi sings, Ulladu alladu ulla porul ulladal ullatte. It's a 40 verse on reality by Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. He starts with a very beautiful introduction. Because you exist, you can think about existence and the non-existence. Because you have the capacity to think about existence and non-existence, you exist. Only the consciousness has a capacity to think or take cognizance on matter. Matter cannot take cognizance on the presence of consciousness, about the qualities of consciousness. But the consciousness can take the cognizance about the qualities of matter. Because you can take cognizance on the presence and practicalities, factualities, qualities and realities of matter, your consciousness. The non-mechanical parts of the brain should be boiled by this truth again and again and again, so that not a single logic which loves to retain your ignorance is left to live in your brain. Any logic which is not convinced by the power of the truth uttered by the Rishi, that logic should be destroyed by the debate with the disciples. When a Rishi repeats the sutra, just by the power of the sound, one part of your non-mechanical brains awakened. The other part argues, finally awakened after he finishes his argument. The third part remains unawakened, that should be awakened by the Vada Pradivada, debate among the disciples. And the fourth part will be awakened only when you start teaching. So if you are interested in having the complete enlightening Nithyananda effect, N effect of Brahma Sutra, Do all these four. First, listening to the truth and the arguments about the truth by the master. These two part, I myself do it. Nothing needs to be done by you for these two part. But the third part, debate, you need to do. It is not homework, understand. It's the work of people who are homeless. I am not giving you homework. I am giving you homeless work. Debate the truth to the level your cognizance believes as factual reality. To the level your cognizance believes as factual reality. After the debate, whatever conclusion you came to, go out and teach at least to 5 people. I tell you, when you teach, your understanding suddenly develops. The fallacy of your logic is understood when you teach. For example, you have 100 reasons saying you are matter, source is matter, it is not consciousness. When I utter the truth, 25 of that logic will die. When I give the arguments supporting the truth, 25 more logic will die. When you do the debate, 25 more will die. When you go out and inspire 5 people, the last 25% will die. Only when you do all these 4, the fallacy of your logic will be realized by you. Understand? Only when you go out and talk, start teaching, suddenly you will understand some parts of your brain which was not completely imbibing this truth is now imbibing. Yes, I had this doubt. Only when I am teaching to him, that doubt is cleared. Yes, that logic is wrong, in which I was stuck. Now I understand. So now I did the 50% job. I have given you the truth. Your source is intelligence, consciousness. And I have given the truth and logical arguments. 50% job is done. You start the next job of having Vyasa and Shankara batch and debating. Then, before you come back for tomorrow's session, go and talk to 5 people. Teach this truth to 5 people. Source is consciousness. So, it is not dead law or dead matter. Teach based on the logic you understood. Now I gave you many logic argument. When you do the debate, you will get many arguments and logic. Go out and teach. Even if you fail, don't worry, come back. I'll give you the more arguments. Failing is not wrong, but not trying is something seriously wrong. Failing is not wrong, but not trying is something seriously wrong. See, I am playing a vast role saying because source is consciousness, don't disrespect life, don't be painful about life, don't suffer in life. Life is joyful, blissful, auspicious, just. There is no injustice. So with one logic I am coming to too many conclusions. So you may be able to accept one logic, but you may not be able to accept the final conclusion. So have the parts where you are not able to reach that final conclusion. Find out the missing link. Vyasa will break the missing links. Or I can say Vyasa will connect the missing links and break the logic which does not want to imbibe this truth in further sutras. Finally, I am boiling down the whole thing to the one truth. Life is auspicious. Rest in the life by not bothering about the happenings. Be a high achiever by not bothering about the happenings. I am not saying be a dropout by not bothering about the happenings. Be a high achiever by not bothering about the happenings. All high achievers do not bother about happenings. If you are bothered about any happening, you will vibrate only in that frequency. If you are bothered about your neighbors talking about you, you will be stuck only in that neighborhood. You will be stuck in that frequency. If you are bothered about media talking about you, you will be stuck in that frequency. If you are bothered about the cosmos talking about you, you will be stuck in that frequency. If you are bothered about certain happenings, you are stuck in that happening. High achiever is a person who is not bothered about any happening, but who is centered on life. Enthusiasm means not being bothered about happening, but centered on excitement. Being bothered about happenings is rajas. Not being bothered about happening, but being centered on dumbness is tamas. Not being bothered about happening, but being centered on enthusiasm is sattva. Happening brings you down to its frequency when you put awareness on it. Any happening. If you are constantly bothered about happening in the political field, you will become politician, or you will just live in the frequency of politician. You may be successful or failure politician, that is different, but consciously you will be stuck in the frequency of politician. If you are constantly bothered about the happening in the cine field, which actor's dog has given birth to male or female baby, or which actress has got which kind of implants were? You may be successful or failure in the cine field, but you will be in the frequency of cine field. If you are bothered about the happenings in the field of business, whose share value has gone up, whose name is appearing in the Fortune magazine, whose name is appearing in the Forbes magazine, you may be successful or failure, but you will be stuck in the frequency of business. A man who looks beyond the happenings will be the achiever. Actually, if you see the achievers, even in that field, they will not be bothered about the happenings. They will just look beyond the happenings. Achiever's life is an intense happening which he never bothered, but others are bothered about it. Always a man who creates history will not be bothered about his history because he lived it. His very frequency will not be bothering about those happenings. Even now I tell you, when people read my life, wow, they say, what an achievement, what he has done, how much has happened. But not even once I bothered that there so much has happened in my life. I am not concerned about happening. That is why my life is syllabus for so many people. Achiever is a man who is not bothered about happenings but established in enthusiasm. When you are not bothered about happenings and established on the factual reality, the source is intelligence, and all your cognizance is taken based on the factual reality, source is intelligence, you are high achiever, you are Ishvara, you are leader. Leadership is nothing but not being bothered about the happenings, but being centered on the high enthusiasm. The source is high enthusiasm, intelligence, consciousness, excitement, bliss. Sutta Swayam Prakasa, Jyotiratma, Chaitanya, Nirlapta, Niralamba, Niramaya, Nirvigalpa, Niranjana, Nischala, Nijananda Tattva Bodha Sugasagara, Ananta Gunakalyana, Shanta Sarvaswarupa, Sagajanandamaya. The experience of the source in the very source is an intense excitement, not bothered about the happenings. A villager who is bothered so much about the happening in his village will never raise to the level of town. A man who is living in a town who is bothered too much about the happenings in his town will never raise himself to the level of city. A man who is bothered too much about the happenings in his city will never leave or raise himself to the level of the cosmopolitan city. A man who is too much bothered about the level of the cosmopolitan city will never raise himself to a capital. A man who has raised himself to a capital will not be bothered too much about the happenings in the village. Not being bothered about the happenings, but being centered on the high enthusiasm is being a leader. Realizing the source is intelligence makes you a leader. It takes away the unnecessary botherations you are having about the mediocre happenings and media happenings. Mediocre is media, media is mediocre. No, really. They have to write for mediocre people. So naturally they have to reduce everything to the mediocre level. Media can never teach Brahma Sutras because it cannot be for the mediocre people. No television channel is interested in relaying Brahma Sutras. Who will watch? Even the seekers are interested in Yoga Sutras because you will come to know you can predict your death. But here Vyasa does not bother about your death. He says you are not living. When are you going to die? Who cares? He just says, realize you have no death, no life. Or just at least die quickly. Vyasa is not bothered about how to predict your death. That is why people are not much interested in Brahma Sutras. It is more for the trendsetters. I tell you, Brahma Sutra is a book to create leaders. Leaders, that is the main thing. It is for the leaders, not for followers. Aphorisms on existence is for the people who are going to create the history of existence. If you just look, (3,000 years of recorded history of humanity), the whole 3,000 years of recorded human history of humanity is created by a handful of people. Jesus, Buddha, Hitler, good or bad, but a handful of people created the history of 3,000 years of humanity. So the history is not created by followers, by leaders, good or bad, but leaders. Anybody who catches the truth of Brahma Sutra becomes great leaders. If you miss, you become bad leader. Brahma Sutra is for good leaders. It is for the great leaders, not for common man. Common man neither accepts nor denies Brahma Sutra, just dumps it. Does not even look into it. A good leader accepts and realizes Brahma Sutra. Bad leader looks in and rejects it. But he looks in and rejects. No leadership seminar can be successful till it makes you understand the source is intelligence. Till it gives you the cognizance of factual reality, the source is intelligence. Source is intelligence. Don't bother about happenings. Be centered on the intense excitement. Unless these three has become a factual reality in your cognizing mechanism, the leadership qualities can never happen in you as quality. It can be added to you as quantity, like makeup. It can be like a fairness cream, never can be like a permanent tan. Source is intelligence. And start the debate on this truth. I bless you all. Let you all achieve, experience, live, express, radiate the eternal bliss, Nithyananda.
If you found this video entertaining, entraining, and enlightening, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell icon. Thank you so much for tuning in.